Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Screen Chronicles. I'm Steve. With me, as always, is Cobstone. And today we have another returning special guest on. You know him as the action director and stunt coordinator for our favorite show, The Last Kingdom. Today we have again Levente Lezsák.
Hey, welcome back, Levente. So happy to have you.
Yeah. Hi guys, always great to be here with you.
Congratulations on the film Seven Kings Must Die that came out earlier this year, being like the number one stream movie in the world for the first few weeks that it was out. It was pretty remarkable. What was that like for you to see the film blow up to that extent?
We are really blessed to be on top of Netflix, ratings. But to be honest, we expected that after the success of the first 5 seasons. So we really hoped that Last Kingdom, movie will hit the top again. And I really hope we deserved it, and all the fans were really happy with the end result we were able to put down onto the table.
Yeah, I mean we're crazy fans, and we were happy with both of them, both the season 5 and the movie. I think as fans we get sort of different endings for both of them that are both
Yeah.
satisfying and different in their own way. But yeah, the movie itself though was awesome. But and you were just telling us before we got rolling here too, you didn't really have a lot of time after 5 ended before you got into the movie too, right? So it's just been go 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 for you.
Yes, it was so for us, The Last Kingdom is our second home. So we spent almost 8 years with Utrecht, and we were maybe the most loyal servants to him because with Utrecht we went through all the up and downs, and we tried to get that Bebenberg in many ways, and at least we succeed.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
as I said, as a very loyal servant, we were able to follow his destiny from the very beginning to the very end. And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to Carnival for the Last Kingdom series to be a part of it. It was a wonderful journey for all of us, and I think we learned so much from each other through the years. And I think this is what you can really clearly see on the show. That's how we also, developed ourselves, and we try to put
Yeah.
all this into the movie. So it's a crown built up from the basis, and maybe the diamond on the crown is
Yeah.
the film. And I'm
Totally.
really happy it's shiny. And if my kids grow up and they will watch this remarkable TV series and film, I really hope they will enjoy as much as the audience enjoys it now.
Absolutely. And as you just said, you were one of the probably the few people and probably members of your team as well that was actually there since the very beginning and to get through it all the way to the very end. Alex is another person that was there from the first day. So there can't be too many other people that were there from that very beginning. So that's pretty cool. What were your emotions like sort of at the end of wrapping up the film, knowing that
Well,
the 8-year journey is sort of coming to an
actually,
end?
well, it's funny because there is a Magnificent Seven on Last Kingdom as well,
Mhm.
and we counted it really. So actually, there was only seven people who were there on the first call sheet
Right.
and on the very last one as
Oh,
well.
wow.
Yeah, with the producers. So these Magnificent Seven, I think we put many things into the show, which made the show so unique.
Yeah.
Because I think there are hundreds and hundreds of shows, especially on the streaming channels, and it's really hard to do something which can just raise up. So the competition is so hard, and I think that's why we were able to come out from this competition and to be seen,
Yeah.
because it was not just a TV series for us, it was a part of our life, part of our families. And
Yeah.
I think the people really felt some more passion, about this show, and not just, to make something which, just a movie or a TV series.
Yeah,
it was much more important for all of us.
Totally. I think that comes through. I think the camaraderie that you guys share off the screen, it is one of those factors that makes the show sort of stand out amongst other shows. It does feel like a family on screen and off screen. And I think the fans feel a sort of connection to that as well, which I think for Steve and I, that's a big reason why we really love this show.
Oh yeah. Is it a relief then that you wrapped up and you're going to have more free time, or are you already missing it though?
I obviously miss it so much, but I think as Alex said in an interview, I think we just stopped at the very right moment to do this show, because if you reach a top, it's very easy to carry on because it's famous, it brings the money, and
you see a lot of shows do it.
Lots of and a huge disappointment if you are not able to jump higher and higher and higher. And I think the producers felt really well on this show. I think with season 5 and with the movie, we were able to jump higher and higher, but I think that was the end beat for us. So necessarily if you go over the top, you just start to slide down and you repeat yourself, and it doesn't really help. And it's much better to keep something in a as a nice memory in your soul, and also for the fans. Then it's a really sad story if you feel that the whole story and just starts to be repetitive, and
Totally
are not able to renew it, and you are not able to tell something new again and again. Totally. It's very easy to slide into that process. So
and we've seen that
happen. We avoided it.
We've seen that happen with a lot of great shows that have just gone on a little too long,
or they just don't stick the landing.
And they don't stick the landing.
And I feel like you guys really stick the landing both times. I because I like really happy endings, so I really liked the ending of season 5. I'd say more than the movie, but I still like that you guys went and did something different with the end of the movie, and it was really unique too.
There's a really great German philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche, and he said in the 19th century, the problem with death, the people die too early or too late. And this is the same with TV series. If you cancel a show too early, or you're just not able to finish at the right point or with the right ending. And I think you are right, totally right. When we finished season 5, I think that was such a beautiful ending, and this came from John East, the last block's director. He had the idea to have Uhtred on top of Babenberg, and as we pull out and we see him on the top of this beautiful castle, and we see his memories from all the previous 5 seasons. It was so touching and emotional. I'm telling you guys very honestly, I cried.
So did I, man.
It was so emotional for me. Who did the film. So I think that was a really great ending. But the other ending is also good in a way. It doesn't give you some definite ending.
Exactly.
So it was so emotional, and you don't know what's going on with Uhtred, but you realize this is not Uhtred's story anymore. So he did what he had to do, and the story carries on, but this is not his story anymore. This is story of England and the new king. So
we loved how that ending was a little ambiguous. It was fun to read and hear different fan theories and all these different sort of conspiracies on he's alive or he's not alive based on what they saw in the film. It was super well done.
Yeah, Colby and I both have our own theories too.
Exactly.
And I'm just going to ask, and if you know the what the true meaning is supposed to be, you don't have to tell us that. But what do you think the ending is, or what do you want it to be?
I'm just a simple stunt coordinator. So don't ask me these kind of questions. It's more
you're a philosopher though too, man.
and the directors. But I will be very honest with you. When I read this ending, I imagined a very different one. So first of all, I told them I think we should have another room. So when Uhtred peeps in, he sees Valhalla and the Vikings, but in the other one there should be Bjorka and all the Christian, Hild and all the other characters, and I just suggested them to stay in these two doorways, and we don't know where he goes if he dies, or he comes back to life. So
yeah, could have three
just
options.
imagine, I just imagined a different ending as
that's interesting.
as it is in the film. And I also suggested a different ending when so he's in the bed, because so the guys are in the big room of the castle, and Uhtred is heavily wounded, and a servant runs in, and he says, Lord Uhtred gone, and everyone thinks, oh my God, he died, and they run into his room, and they don't find him, just the bed soaking blood, but no Uhtred's there, and they are trying to find him, and his son runs down to the stables, and he finds Uhtred by his old white horse, which was his horse in the very beginning, and they have all the monologue there.
I see.
And then he jumps onto his horse without any bridle, and he just rides out into the light. So that was my ending, actually.
That's probably what Alex ended up doing, though, right? Like by himself. That's what Alexander Draymond did, though, right? That was his last day on set. He just got on.
That's how he left
his first white horse and just rode out.
Actually, yeah, that's why I wanted to make this happen. But this happens many times in TLK's history. So when we read the script, we had the page turns with the directors. We always had lots of ideas, and some obviously didn't make happen. Some happened, and I was so happy when I was able to punch through the wall, with some of my ideas.
And sure, in the film, what were some examples of ideas that you brought into the film that made it in?
Many. For example, in season 5, I think episode 6, when Sigtryggr dies.
Yeah.
Originally, that was written very differently. So Edward came out and he stabs Sigtryggr. It was much more simpler than it was in the film. And I just thought to Paul Wilhelmers, the director, I think it should be different and more dramatic if Edward comes out and he said, okay, but you have to die because what you did, that's not correct, and you deserve the punishment. You can choose the hand, and Sigtryggr chooses Uhtred's hand. And I think this is the real drama, because Stiora loves Sigtryggr, loves Uhtred. So there is that triangle, which makes this moment really hard for all of the three, but still very emotional and touching, because Uhtred likes Sigtryggr, Sigtryggr likes Uhtred, and Sigtryggr wants to take the death from his friend's hand. So for example, this was one of the story beat I suggested, and
I like that one too.
Yeah. That was a lot of the actors on set told us that was one of their favorite scenes to shoot when we interviewed with the season 5.
Even if they weren't directly part of the scene.
Yeah, they just said that when Uhtred killed Sigtryggr, there was, they said it gave him chills at the moment. So that's really cool to think that originally wasn't part of this, because that's kind of became an iconic moment from season 5. That moment, it was really amazing. And were there any in the film that you brought in?
I'm sure we had a couple of.
Sure. Yeah.
But for example, I'm telling you another example. When we did season 3, there was a big duel between Bloodhair and Heston. And I suggested to, and I think it didn't come out so well in the film, but I suggested to use Poison by
Skade.
Skade, right?
yeah, Skade.
Yeah.
So he poisons Blood Hair, and that's why he fell, and that's why Heston wins. Because
Exactly.
originally it was staged and written totally differently.
Interesting.
I suggested to do that one because this made the whole fight more, the whole drama much more interesting and more exciting. And there are a couple of more, but but to be honest, the credit is not mine. The credit is really for the film because this is how it goes. I think there are lots of creative minds around the table when we have a page turn, and everyone has everyone have really great ideas, not just me. And I don't want to take the credit for if something goes well, because there are plenty more really great ideas just comes in. And actually, this is always the decision of the producers and the writers,
right?
And if they like it, if they can go with the idea, they will build it in. And sometimes they make your original idea sometimes so small, but it starts to flourish when they open it, and they start to make it more difficult and much more interesting.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just give the first push, and the story starts to be more lively and lively and lively.
It's just awesome how you guys worked as a team, and ideas I know were probably flowing all over the place, and it just really seems like it was a full team effort to make the show and the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's one scene that we definitely wanted to ask you about in season 5. It was pretty mind-blowing, was the duel between Uhtred and Brida in episode 7 at their former home when they were actually slaves. Could you talk a little bit about what it was like when that choreography was being performed? Because it seemed like it was pretty mapped out to go with the memories Uhtred was having at the time. Could you just speak to that a little bit?
So the director was Anthony Philipson, and he is a fantastic director. He's so creative, and he's so he really knows how to make drama. If you have just the storyline, he's able to make it really flourishing, or he's able. It's like a Christmas tree when you make it nice,
Sure.
So he really knows how to do that, and he really knows how to build up the tension. So when we discuss this duel, obviously we all know that it's not just a duel. It has to be very different. There are so many aspects of this fight. This is not a fight. This is much more. And he had the idea to have these flashbacks, for example, in the fight when all the memories comes back from Uhtred and Brida. I also suggested a couple of story beats for that, especially when we build it up. So when Uhtred rides to Loidis, I think that was the space, the old Viking house where I died in season 1.
That's right, when you were on fire.
So it was kind of a teamwork again. So we tried to put together what we have, and we had a kind of a feeling it should be almost like making love in a way, doing a fight. And so there are so many aspects, and I think the ending is so sudden and heartbreaking, but it should happen. I think it was a really a right ending, not just for the duel, but for Brida as well, when Stiora just stays there and she says, okay, I done what you should,
and I think for their Uhtred and Brida's relationship, I think it was really satisfying for us fans that at least they had some sort of recompense. They had some sort of reconciliation right before she died, and they sort of battled out their aggressions, and were also able to remember the good times too, which was cool.
Yeah. And I think it was really nice ending for Brida as well. And I think for Emily, it was a great chance to make a really beautiful performance. And for Alex as well, I think both of them did not just a great fight, but great performance as well.
Now, like some of like their actual positions in the fight would be what like seemed to trigger a memory of Uhtred. Did you guys like go back and
That's how built up.
rewatch?
That's how built up the fight.
Exactly. Did you guys
Yeah,
go back and like rewatch some of these old
yeah.
moments?
So yeah, we made a plan, and
Yeah.
and we knew that what kind of memories we are looking for,
Right.
and what kind of moves we have to make
So cool.
to trigger the flashback. Yeah.
That is very so cool. I mean, I love that too, and like we talk about the story beats, all that. It's great. But also too, the two of them fight back in I think it's Battle of Etherwich in episode 3 of
season 5, yeah,
the same season 5 still. They're fighting each other there in the midst of that battle. Which what I really liked about it, which I thought was cool, is that there would be like other people that were also trying to fight both of them throughout. They have to like deal with another person, then they would try and get back to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've never been in a battle, but I just feel like when you do see people square off in movies and stuff, I mean, it's always epic, but it always like, well, practically, wouldn't like another guy not recognize that there's like this emotional arc between the two of them, and he would just try and wreck that, you know?
No, you are totally right, and I'm so happy you saw that, because that was the aim. So that's what we wanted to do with that fight. So we did lots of fights, lots of duels, and we wanted to do something very different in this one. And you are totally right. That was my intention. So when I talked to my guys, I told them I want to fight when they try to fight to each other, but they are always interrupted with other clashes, and because that's the real war, how it is. So what we always wanted to show with the Last Kingdom, how a real fight, or how a real battle happens.
Right.
It's not Troy, Brad Pitt, and so Achilles and Hector's fight. Yeah, it's very, very different. That's beautiful and epic, and I'm happy to make these kind of fights. But we wanted to show a very different side of it, and I think we were able to do that. And this was one of the fights when we wanted to show this kind of aspect of the battle, when you try to fight with someone, but always someone gets in, and you have to deal with them, and then you come back to him or her. And also there was the story of the little girl, which was so sad and emotional as well, and we had to,
and a pretty big stunt, I would imagine,
film that journey as well, which was really interesting, and also not just challenging to work with kids. We had a really great cast for her character, but I love to be honest, operating stunt camera, and that was one of my favorites when I had to jump with her.
It was you, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was me with the camera jumping.
That's so cool.
After her. Yeah. On the wire. So it's a really sweet memory for me from many aspects, because we loved that small battle.
That reminds me too. Last time we talked, you had mentioned about wanting to maybe get killed off in the show too. Did that happen? And at any point were you killed off in like season 5 or in the movie? Did you come in as a character in the show and have Uhtred kill you?
I always wanted to do that, but simply I was not able to make it happen, unfortunately, because I always had to coordinate, or I had to direct. So simply I had no chance or time to take a costume and just run in and to do something with him.
Yeah,
maybe if we maybe in another film with Alex, we can make it happen.
What would you have wanted, if that did happen? How would you want it to? How would you want to go?
I don't know, to be honest.
I'd want Spartan kicked off Bemberg. I think that's what I'd want.
Spartan kicked off.
Just Spartan kicked right off the ramparts. That's how I want.
Yeah, it would be lovely. But when you are on set and you have to be
Oh, yeah.
coordinate 150 stunt guys day by day, you are just running after the things,
Yeah.
and you are just trying to organize everything.
Did you find your responsibilities grow over time?
Yeah, actually, yes, in a way, and not really in
Okay.
another way, because at the very beginning, the film was not able to afford, horse master, a fight
Right.
master. I had to do everything. I did all the
Wow.
fights.
Okay. Right.
I had to coordinate the horses. I had to look after everything. And from season 2, I had a fight master. I had a horse master. Then when I did second unit, I had an other stunt coordinator with me. My fight master, stepped forward, and he started to coordinate as a stunt coordinator, and I still had the responsibility, and I still had to look after everyone. But
Right.
it was more like a conductor, front of a symphonical orchestra.
Gotcha.
And you had really great musicians to block
Right.
everything. I think and this is something which really grown out from the Last Kingdom as well. We became a really great team,
Hmm.
and now I think a world class team.
That's awesome.
Stunt guys around me, and not just stunt performers, but as horse masters, fight masters, and stunt
Sure.
supervisors. So it's really great, and I'm totally. They have my trust, and we can understand each other from a blink.
Sure.
So,
It's
and it's really
amazing.
great to work together like this.
You mentioned a second ago how during that battle of Efowich, you really wanted to show how real, add that realistic element to the battle where Uhtred and Brito were getting interrupted. Well, Steve and I really felt that the battle in the film, the Battle of Brunenberg, was one of the more realistic battles that we've seen on the show. Was this something that you guys were also going for in the film?
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, in season 1, season 2, we did lots of shield walls,
Yeah.
and we just felt we will be so repetitive if
Hmm.
we do shield walls again. So we try to re tie ourselves from shield walls, and we try to
Sure.
do different battles. For example, in season 3, the big battle, we bring it into the forest,
Yeah.
which made a very different environment, and also a different choreo for the battle. And that's how we try to make our battles different and different, so not to be the same again, which
Exactly. Yeah.
can be boring after a time. But
Totally.
I was so happy when we come back in the film to the big shield wall and the very authentic battle
Yeah.
sequences, because I think we were able to level up because we were on a bigger scale.
Sure.
So we had more stunt guys, action extras with us. We had 300 people on set in the battle
Crazy.
itself sometimes, and we were able to properly rehearse and then to shoot for almost 2 weeks with the second unit, the whole battle. And I think you can really feel it. Obviously, when you make a big battle sequence, it's much bigger than you can see in the film.
Sure.
And obviously, there are a couple of moments my heart is bleeding. They are not in the film,
Ah,
but you have to feel into the time frame, and there are many other aspects you don't really which the director, producer, and the editor knows much better than you, because obviously we are obsessed with the action, obsessed with stunts and battles, but there are many, many more aspects which you have to keep in mind when you create a whole film. So,
yeah.
but it's still huge and epic, and I think
Oh yeah.
we were able to show the character's journey in it,
Hmm.
which is really important. So when you make a battle or any kind of fight sequence, it should be a character-driven drama. Otherwise, it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
People hacking each other for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. from 5 minutes, it's going to be terribly boring. So you have to, and I think it was Ed Baselgate's idea to follow, for example, Perlig when he badly wounded and falls down and tries to crawl out from the battle. I think that's so intense and emotionally you can really feel what's going on in a battle. So, and there are lots of elements like this which I think brings the battle and the feeling so close to you guys, and that was our goal, to so the audience should be a part of the battle and not just the watcher, with popcorn and a Coke in the hand.
Yeah.
So, and if we were able to reach this level, it worked. If we were not, we failed. And I really hope
I think
it worked.
Totally. It worked. Like, it felt chaotic. When you read a Bernard Cornwell book and they talk about a battle and what it's like in the Shield Wall, it also feels chaotic, and it feels like you could get stabbed on accident, because there's just blades flying around. And that's sort of what it felt like to me when I was watching it. Like,
there's this scary element to these two massive units of people colliding,
just swinging blades crazy, it's crazy.
Yeah, and when you are in a battle like this, like sardines in a box, pushed to and stuck in this melee, you are not able to make a beautiful choreo. It's not martial art anymore. It's more about hacking, biting, and
Gritty,
trying to survive and just kill. So all the animal instincts just came out, I think, from the people when they were in a battle like this, and that's what we wanted to show. That's what we wanted to tell the people. Maybe you are playing with a video game, Witcher and these kind of. I'm not playing with this kind of game, so I don't know any more titles. Sorry for that, but there are lots of and it's always like you have magical weapons and you have big space to use those weapons, but in real life you haven't got it. You don't have it, so you just have to try to survive, and the only key thing, and that's what we were able to show, maybe if you have a strategy, if you are smarter than your enemy, and if you have a formation and you have to keep that formation. If the formation breaks, you will die. If the formation stays, you will survive. So there are simple principles, and so that's what we wanted to show by these battles. And I think this is why The Last Kingdom is authentic, and sometimes it's more authentic than any other shows, because obviously we use a couple of really cool moves,
of course,
which maybe not really existed that age, but we always try to keep in mind this principle, and that was the the tagline for us: be as close as possible to reality. And the real emotional. And you are totally right. So I remember there was a huge discussion about how Uhtred gets wounded, and I was totally on the same page with Ed Baselgate and the writer, because they wanted to do as a very sudden and almost invisible stab from nowhere, because this is how you die, or wounded, even if you were a hero in a battlefield. And Uhtred, survived many battles, but even the biggest hero can killed by only the smallest,
it could have been anybody that stabbed him. Could have been anybody on another arm,
he has a conversation about that, I think, with Citric during the movie too, and he just talks about, there was all these other great warlords that I fought. They were successful before, and they were never undefeated until they fought me. When does that happen to me, kind of thing. And so my hope with the ending is, I'm hoping, because I want to be optimistic, Uhtred is alive, and he's sitting drinking ale, watching his son rule Bebbanburg. That's what I'm hoping. You don't have to tell me if that's true or not. But anyway, if he did die the way he did in this, it's kind of cool, just the realistic, the realism of it, because that's one thing Colby and I, and you talk about the authenticity, We've always liked that about the show. And I was missing that shield wall, man. I was missing it.
Yeah.
So I was so happy to see it come back.
Yeah,
And
me too.
it
Me
was
too.
so gritty and we talked about the build up before too, where they're just like they're scared. Like you see them scared and like there's guys
peeing themselves,
peeing and vomiting and guys chanting and it was oh man, it was amazing.
It was a great build up.
It was amazing.
I'm so happy to hear that you liked it because that's
Totally.
that's we really hoped. The fans were really happy to see this battle, and I was so happy to come back to the shield wall strategy as well because that's epic and that's authentic, and also as you said, we wanted to show the moments before the battle, how you feel inside the shield wall, what kind of emotions just overwhelming you when you are there. Yeah, as I said, strategy. I really like the idea of the trick with the nails,
the spikes or something. Yeah, when they retreat.
As they run into that, and
I like that.
Yeah, so I think we were able to build up the tension really gradually, and from the smart tricks to the most, stacked, epic, heroic battle moments. And I love the horses, in the film. We always wanted to do something different with the horses in this one.
Okay.
So I suggested to use the three trunks as a weapon.
Love
we
that.
wanted to use a bit more originally, but it was quite difficult. But I think we were able to sell it properly on the show because they are few and that's how they can do the biggest damage.
Sweep right through, plow them right down.
Yeah,
so, we like that. We like to see that, like, new. I mean, you guys have been so good at every battle, sort of introducing a new thing we haven't seen in another battle, and
it's to be honest, it's very challenging.
I'm sure
how you're able to come up with a new idea
when you've done so many battles. I'm sure it gets tough. So was it difficult then with those logs and the horses? Like, was it hard to get the horses coordinated with that, or anything?
It was really heavy.
Sure.
In terms of it was rubber and foam, but it was so heavy as well. So it was really heavy to carry these wooden logs, fake logs, because obviously we cannot use real logs when you're filming. You have to make it safe, but it was still really heavy, and we had to teach the horses, and we had to train the horses to carry it as well, because it's not normal for a horse. Something is following him. So but our stunt horses are really well trained, and they know all these battle elements so well from previous battles, so it's very easy to get used to them, to this trick. And there were a couple of horse hits which we did, but it was not about the horses. It was more about Uhtred and his journey, and how they defeat.
And they're outnumbered. They got to get creative. They got to find different ways to make it work. And Uhtred's always done that. He's always been able to find unique solutions, thinking outside the box, I guess, which is cool. And another thing that we hadn't seen before in that battle that Steve and I really liked was the shield wedge that Anlaf and his guys.
To be honest, we did the same formation in season 3. Bloodhair, the first battle when they storm into the Mercian and Saxon wall in Ep 1. So if you check it, you will see the same peak. It's called triangle. It's called pighead formation.
Pighead, right?
Pighead formation.
Right.
And we used it before, and it worked really well. But we really wanted to do it again because this is a very authentic shield wall formation to break the other shield wall as a wedge.
Very cool.
It's awesome.
And I think so. We also this is the right moment to use it again. How to break through and go for the king. And I just picked up one of my biggest and toughest guy as the front of the pighead formation.
Put that cool helmet on.
We called him Orc Guy.
Yeah,
He
it
had
looked like
the
an
cool
orc
helmet on the whole time.
Yeah, and so and he did such a great job. I think it came through, but on set it was even more epic when
Really?
they broke through. Yeah, and they started to fight. Actually, the people just flied in the air.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So it
It's
was
so cool.
because he's such a strong guy,
Yeah.
and he did a really great job. So when we were on set and when we did it, everyone just hooray!
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
What a
when we
moment.
had the scene. Yeah, it was a great moment. Yeah.
I guess in those moments you just know that you just captured something amazing because that's definitely something that stands out in the battle. It was really well done.
Yeah.
When we saw it, it looked great on screen, but to know in the moment
Well,
did, yeah.
there's a Hungarian director, and when he did the scene, he always asked his DOP, "Did you see the angel flying through?" And when the angel, flying through, that's when you can go to the next one. And
you got it.
I just learned this from him. We always have to watch the angel flying through, and when the angel passes, okay, then we can go for the next one.
Sure.
And you definitely see the angel flying through when everything comes together, and there is something more than just something in reality or front of you. It's really hard to tell what's going on, but definitely you feel something more
Sure.
behind when something epic happens in front of
Totally.
your eyes and front of the camera. And this is when you can say that, okay, we can go for the next one. Because obviously when you do a battle sequence and you have to fight for 10 hours a day, it's really exhausting, and it's really easy to fall into the state when you just doing technically well but without a soul. And I think it's one of the biggest challenge for me as a stunt coordinator. How can I cheer up my guys? How can I ask them to be more than technically perfect?
Right.
If you know how I mean.
Yeah. What do you do for that?
Because that's not enough. Because that's not enough. Simply not enough. Technically perfect, that's the basis. And you have to give more. And that's performance, and even more than performance. We have to really feel that kind of anger and that kind of energy and the passion and everything. And it's really hard, because when you shoot a scene like this for a week and 10 hours a day, plus, the guys are coming 4 o'clock in the morning and they finish, 10 o'clock, and then they can just relax for a couple of hours and then they come back. And you do it in rain, and you do it in mud, and you do it in cold.
They do such a good job.
Yeah. So
we've seen a lot of other movies and shows where like the stunt performers are in a battle they almost stage like they're about to get hit. They almost like stop fighting, and it kind of takes the viewer out of the moment. And that's one thing we've loved about The Last Kingdom is like we never feel like that. I mean, we always feel like our main characters are in danger, so I think it's a testament to how well your team does and your guys do.
And it's also psychology, because you have to be able to motivate your guys.
What do you do? How do you motivate them? How do you get them back into that energy you want?
It's always different.
Sure.
It's always different. There is no one pattern you can follow always.
It's like you're a coach. You're their coach, and you gotta like.
It's
the individual,
like
right?
a coach. Yeah. You have to feel the moment, and you have to feel what's the right, line or light, what you have to do in that moment.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I really want to talk about. We just talked a lot about the battle in season or in the film Seven Kings Must Die, but I'd really love to talk about the final battle of Bamber or Bebbanburg.
Yes, sorry,
Bebbanburg. At the end of season 5, because not only was that an epic battle, but there were a ton of stunts that had to be done. I mean, there were shield turtles on fire, the guys going up, there were guys jumping on spikes, there were guys falling off cliffs. Could you just talk a little bit about what it was like to do that battle? I'm sure it was a big process.
I cannot say that that was one of my favorite battles because I really loved all the battles in the Last Kingdom history. But obviously, that was one of the most important battles for us as well, because that was the end of the series, not just the season, but end of the series and the most epic battle. So we all felt we have to make something really great there. And the director was John East.
Yeah.
And I think he did a really great job on this because he's so precise. He always makes maps and he knows how to shoot. Just before we go there, we have very exact plans how we will cover, and we have all the camera positions, everything. So, and it was a huge help for us because when you have to make such a big, epic, and chaotic battle like this, at least there have to be one guy who knows, okay, what I want to do.
Sure.
So we were not lost. We had a really great governor.
That's great because there's so many moving parts that you could easily get lost. I feel.
Yeah, and especially if the director is lost, it's really hard because if you haven't got a real governor, it's very easy to just float away and not able to finish your day, not able to finish the sequence properly. And so first of all, we are really grateful to John East because he did a great job on that one. And we were really grateful for Carnival, the producers, because they really felt the same. We have to put everything in it. So they gave us all the resources to make it as epic as it is. So we built up a set piece cliff edge where we can do practical high falls. And then we had a VFX unit shoot when we had a huge green screen. It was about 17, 18 meters high, and we did lots of falls, and they just put into the front of the VFX cliff edge as high falls. Yeah, we had really great elements front of the walls of Bebenberg, where we had this fire stunt and the boiling hot water.
Oh yeah.
With that battle, I think we were able to show many aspects of stunts, and this is how it became a remarkable battle, because there were almost all the elements together, with horses, with high falls, with fire, and with so we had all the elements to make a nice and big battle. Totally. Which is not going to be boring or repetitive, as I said.
I mean, you mentioned the cliffside. That was amazing. Two other moments that I thought were also big from the battle were Constantine's charge, and then Uhtred and his gang when they charged and they joined the battle.
Can
we talk about Constantine? I mean, I love the character, and I love he had that moment before the charge when he goes out where he sort of, I don't know, he prays, he meditates, visualizes what's going on. And then he comes out like a wrecking ball. I mean, he just bulldozes everyone. Can you talk about, was that something in the script for the character? Was that something, working that the stunt team wanted to do with Constantine? Where did that sort of different part of that character come out from?
So first of all, the actor who played Constantine, he was one of the sweetest and nicest guy in TLK's history. And he never did a battle sequence before.
Yeah.
And I think he had to discover this side of his soul or personality.
Yeah.
And feed it up. So we had lots of trainings with him for this fight, and I think he did really great
so
job
epic
on this.
Awesome.
And with his character, we wanted to show a very different character in the story. I think he has so many layers. He's not just a bad guy,
Right.
And I think you can tell about the Last Kingdom characters. They are not black and white.
Exactly.
They are colorful. Like, like all the human being. We have good side, bad side. We are never, just it's so we try to go over the Disney philosophy when you just, the bad is bad, the good is good, and life is so easy because to decide between the two, it's so obvious and so easy. But the life is very different. And I think Constantine's character in the story is one of the most interesting characters.
Totally.
Maybe Hastings is the
Yeah.
the only one who can.
He had a great arc.
Yeah.
But
good point.
but when, for example, he confesses for the queen, you will be my wife, but my heart belongs to someone else, and I respect you, and I will not hurt you. So I loved his character, and I think this character comes through in the battle as well. As you said, the meditation before the battle and when he rushes into the battle, that's totally a different energy. And that makes his character so interesting in the fight. My friend Tomáš Katrič, who did the fights in the battles, mostly created a really great storm for Constantine, and it works so well in the story. And I was so proud because I was able to do second unit again on season 5 and in Seven Kings as well, and we covered lots of elements or parts of the battle in our second unit. So obviously I worked with very close relation with John East, but I'm so proud, watching back all my footages in the battles.
That's so cool.
What we did on second unit.
After Constantine's charge, man, I was kind of like, I kind of wanted to switch sides. I was kind of like, push him off the cliffs, because it was just so cool, man. So cool. But the other charge too, we talked about, and you mentioned the cliffs and how you form that, and eventually Uhtred has to come and save the day, and he brings the Danes. And with their charge, it's a little different. They all sort of, first of all, it's just epic because they're running in slow-mo and it's all the heroes up front. But they come in and the whole front line just drop kicks everyone. Where did that come from too?
It was quite challenging because we couldn't use horses here, but we all felt the urgency. So they are quite far from the battle. If they don't run into the battle, they will not get in the battle in time, and Edward and all the other guys dies, and Bebern were lost. So we all felt, okay, they have to run. Okay, but if they run, obviously we need the heroes at the front. Okay, but how you bring them into the enemy's lines? So I think that it developed very naturally, to be honest, and I think it wasn't so staged in a way. I think it came from the story more than as a pre-choreographed, I don't know what kind of
idea.
Yeah.
But was it challenging getting everyone to get that to happen at the same time?
And the most challenging part, to be honest, because we had so many characters. Okay, how can you show their stories in the battle? And obviously, it's almost impossible. So I'm sure there are guys or fans who would spend much more time with Finan. There are a couple of more who would love to see more from Stiora, but especially because we were really correct. We gave really great fights for everyone, and at least the editor has to decide. Okay, it's like to make a soup or make a nice meal, and you just have the ingredients, and you have to find a balance with the ingredients. If you put too much salt in it, you won't be able to enjoy the soup at the end. So. And this is a different job to find the balance with the characters and to find how much story I can show from this character, from that character, from that character. This selection is really hard. I totally understand because I was there when we did the edit.
Okay.
And I know we spent so much time, with these kind of questions. Okay, can we put 2 more moves for him or no? Because that will take away our attention to the main, storyline. And you have to stick to the storyline. Otherwise, it's going to be too chaotic, and at the end, you will be totally lost with the story. So it's a really, really hard job. It's
Must
really
be a
hard.
delicate balance, just to you want people to shine, but you also need to keep it. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's
It was
I
really
still
think the
amazing. It was amazing.
editors made really great job on every season. So I'm not missing so much, from these battles or stunts. Sometimes, there are some teardrops for some moments, but if I'm watching the end result, I'm not really missing those moments.
Sure.
I miss them because I know we did it, but the audience will not miss it.
Yeah, we would never know.
And for
You're
the
cursed with
story,
that knowledge.
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool though to think, there's other beats out there, and that's pretty awesome. And one character, speaking of characters who fight and have storylines, in season 5, Ethelstan has a lot of moments in different battles where he has to fight, and his fighting style is pretty unique, we think, compared to other characters on the show. He gets sometimes more into like grappling and wrestling when he fights. Was this something intentional with his character, or was it more
Actually, yes, it was. And I'm just telling a secret.
Okay.
Ooh.
From TLK's history. He had a fight with one guy, I think in Ep 3 or so, quite at the beginning of the season,
Sure.
when he sees the Mercian elite is killed.
Maybe Ep 4, I can't remember exactly, but yeah,
F4
one
or
of those
something
ones.
yeah. And he has a fight with a soldier of Edward.
Yeah.
And Toma and the guys made such a beautiful and epic fight for them.
Okay.
But it was so martial artistic. It was so unique and it was so beautiful. We couldn't make it.
Oh.
Because if we make it, it just jumps out of the story so much. So
Gotcha.
it was not able to stick the character and the characters to the story. So we had to totally remake that choreo before we filmed it, and we had to make it simpler, much more simpler. But you are totally right. We wanted to make something different for Ethelstan because we felt that okay, he's the student of Uhtred.
Exactly right.
And the student always have to overgrow his master, and
Right.
And this is the only way you can show how he overgrows his master if you give him more skills or different style than his master. Different but effective, and and maybe this is what you felt
Totally
from his character. And his first fight in the ditch, I think that was really cool as well. That was a bit longer also. In the edit, they cut out some parts of it, but it was still very tense and served the story so well.
Just using whatever he can to get out of that situation. Using a branch or something. He used
the branch, and then he uses the horn from his
the headwear,
mask.
That's cool.
So in that fight also we wanted to make something different. That's how I figured out, okay, let's use the horn as a weapon at the end. But if I can mention another battle, which is one of my favorite, is in Ep 6. We call this battle. The ice battle. I love that battle, to be honest.
Me too.
Visually.
In the tents and wow, so that was one of my favorite battles.
The lighting in that battle is incredible.
The color palette.
They did a really great job on photographing and lighting that.
Why do you really love that battle? What draws you to it?
First of all, because I did lots of second unit in it, and secondly, because that was so intense again. When we discussed this battle, we suggested to bring it into the tents, because we always felt that if you bring a battle out to the field, even if you have 300 people with you, that seems, so tiny, because they lost in a huge field. You need lots of VFX to make them bigger, which looks always, a bit fake, even if the VFX guys made such a great job on this show. And I think inside the tents, with the smoke and with the fires, we were able to build up a so tense and busy fighting background for all the characters. And I loved the way they did the fights. Sigtryggr and
Rongvalder. Yes, I
yeah,
love this
brother.
part.
Yeah, and Uhtred and
It's like
Ethelstan.
Sigtryggr and Rongvalder, like they knew what the other guy was going to do the next move, and like Rongvalder would duck while Sigtryggr swung over him. Like their
That's
connection
what
was so
we tried
strong.
to make. They are brothers, so they
Yeah.
work as a team, and
So
that's
cool.
awesome.
how they staged that fight, for example. But there was, small moments I really liked. When the horse falls into the tent, because that was a great stunt. To use the broken spear to kill the next guy. So
that was amazing.
So we try to make all the choreos unique and different, also, from the previous ones. So I really like the atmosphere. I think we were able to build in this.
A lot of horses in that too, right? Right up your alley.
I love the moment when Sigtryggr's holding the line and it's like the horses are about to come around. It's so still for a second, and then you see them and they're charging for it. So epic.
Yeah.
Come through the smoke. Yeah.
So, for example, I directed the whole part you are mentioning now.
Ooh.
Yeah, in second unit. Yeah.
Sweet.
So I like that standoff and all those moments. When they're just coming and they're holding and then bang.
There's a lot with
flying. Yeah.
There's a lot with Sigtryggr in that battle. That's the first battle that we see him in. We've seen him before shoot arrows and stuff, but this is the first one he's really in the meat of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. He had a fight in Ep 2 when
which was awesome in the circle.
For a circle with guys. Yeah. And I think it was a really great fight.
Yeah, fire too. I think he grabbed a fire on the end of the spear and was
and then he swings it. Yeah.
That was super cool.
And that was the next chance to show him as a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's again a really nice and sweet guy in real life. As a character, I think he were able to show another type of the fighter who is effective, smart, and definitely has a style. I really loved his style and his character, and we really tried to give something different for him. I think he was kind of yin and yang, Uhtred and Sigtryggr for me. So in my mind, he was very similar to Uhtred, and he had a very similar story actually. If you watch his story, he loses everything, then he tries to regain, but he fell unfortunately at the end, and it was so sad and emotional for us as well to lose this actor, because
totally
he was a really great guy.
Great actor, and I think he became a fan favorite very, very quickly in the show when he was introduced in season 4.
He totally deserved it.
So it made it that much harder to see him die in that at the end of that episode. But that battle is a very memorable and again unique. I mean, I hadn't seen them fight in a bunch of tents like that, and some of the wide shots were incredible. Is there a battle now sitting back? Last Kingdom's done. Is there a battle that you helped create that is your favorite looking back?
They are all my kids, so I cannot really tell. As you cannot name which is your favorite child.
Yeah, true.
Everyone is so unique from the very first one to the last one. So I don't really want to pick. We can talk about all of them, and I can tell you why I love.
I know.
Well, we do love them all, and man, I think about like the battle at Dunholm back in season 2. When I think of Ethington season 1, Bevenberg season 5, and from the movie too. That's again coming back to that shield wall. I love that. Oh, and then I mean we talked about last time we talked to, but in season 4, Tetton Hall, I think that's probably the biggest, craziest one that you guys have ever done.
Yeah,
that was amazing too. but those have all been great, and then thank you and the rest of the team too for making those moments so authentic but still grand and spectacular, because that's such a major part of the show for us.
But thank you guys, and thanks for the fans to keep it alive, because without you, we are not able to make this show happen. So without your support, and we felt all the time, and it was so important. You cannot hardly imagine how important it is if you feel what you do is important to someone.
Right.
And I constantly got emails from all over the world from fans, and that helped me in the most hardest moments. When you are really depressed, when you are really exhausted, when you're really and you have to push the cart forward in the deepest mud. That gave us so much strength, and thank you guys, because you are not able to do this if you have no arms helping you, and we always felt this, and that gave us so much strength.
Yeah,
so awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Of course. And were you able to take anything away from set at the end? Any souvenirs?
Oh yeah, So, for example, this is one of the claps. You always got it when you end the film. There's my name, the second unit director. Awesome. And I was honored. I'm just taking it. So I got one of the sword of Utrecht from the show. And Alex made a really nice note on it.
Oh, can I ask what it says?
To the warrior who made Utrecht into a warrior. Thank you, my friend. Love, the Demon.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So
that's so cool.
It's a really precious gift from the Last Kingdom team.
Wow, the warrior. That's so cool.
That's very cool. I mean, and I know you're a humble guy and everything, but we talked. We said this to you last time we had you on too. But anytime we talk to any actor or director or cinematographer, they would usually bring up your name too, and say, well, we were able to do this because Levente, strapped himself to a horse or something, so and planned it out. So that's awesome, I'm glad for the success, and I love the show, and I'm gonna miss it.
It's all very well deserved. Yeah.
I will tell you something, guys. I miss the show so much, but for example, all the friendships will, stay with us, and we work constantly together, even if we stop doing The Last Kingdom. For example, now I'm doing another carnival show, The Day of the Shakal, with Eddie Redmayne. And nice. The directors are Paul Wilhurst, who directed, for example, season 5, Ep 6 Big Battle.
Yeah.
Now I'm working with Anthony Philipson, who did, for example, the Brida and Utrecht fight you mentioned. So I worked with Magnus Samuelsson, for example, who played Klappa in another show. He did a really, really great job on that as an actor, and I think he deserves much more than he got from.
He can do it all.
Yeah, he's
like the world's most interesting man.
That was a Disney Plus show where we met, and he did one of the main parts of it, and he did a really great job on it. So we constantly meet and we constantly talk, and also minimum a month we used to call each other with Alex, and we talk about the big things of life, and we keep this really precious friendship what we have. I'm so grateful for The Last Kingdom, but not just because it was a great journey with Utrecht, but we got so many things we can bring for the whole life,
totally,
for lifetime.
I know the last time we talked to you had mentioned you were interested in writing like comedies and other things too. Is there anything that you've still been set on, or anything you still want to pursue with that, or anything you've been writing you're having fun with?
I was so this is one thing which really came out from Last Kingdom. I'm doing more and more second unit directing,
Oh, cool.
And I think I really hope I'm heading towards directing something by my own.
Sweet.
And I have a couple of stories in my mind and trying to sit down and find the time to write it. But for example, my second novel will come up this Christmas.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, only in Hungarian, so you will be not able to enjoy
Oh,
it.
But
Get on Duolingo so we can get.
what's it called? What's it about?
It's kind of a tale like the Shrek story. So it's a fairy tale, but it's a very funny fairy
Cool.
tale, and it's not a usual fairy tale. It's like Shrek. So I wanted to write, because I have kids, and I wanted to write a book which is which an adult can enjoy when reads for the kid, and the kids also can enjoy it. So there are many of levels levels of it.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a very busy schedule right now, and we'll look forward for sure to see what you come out with in the future. We'll always, be following you and what you're doing, because you did such an amazing job with TLK and everything. And
We have heard some people talk about a potential sort of Scottish version of The Last Kingdom. If that were to happen, would you want to be a part of that? Maybe direct?
I would love to, obviously. Yes, of course.
Okay, awesome.
yeah,
So I love this genre, and
yeah,
and if something comes up with Carnival again, I'm very happy to follow the journey and to be a loyal servant again.
awesome.
There you go.
Behind the main character. Well, I turned to 50 this year, and I really had to sit down and think through, okay, what I really want to do with my next 20 or 30 or 40
Yeah.
years. I think The Last Kingdom will help me to make the decision, because I don't want to waste my time things which are, not interesting or important in my life. Life
Right.
is so short and so precious, and the only thing you can really bring back or give back to someone is time. So
Yeah.
the time is the most precious things in life, and you can give back everything, but you cannot give back time. So I really have to think through, okay, what I want to do in my next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Obviously, if we have a similar show like Last Kingdom, that would be lovely, because I'm so happy to be a part of these kind of great projects. And I'm still doing writing, and I hope maybe at once we can talk about my film.
Yes.
I hope so. Yeah, we'll definitely
would
be bugging you then when it comes out.
We will see.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks again, Levente, for sitting down and chatting with us today about all of our nerdy questions. We loved hearing from you again. We love what you did with the show. We'll link all your stuff down in the description below for fans to check you out and everything. And is there anything else you want to say to the fans then here as we go?
Keep watching The Last Kingdom.
Over and over again.
And keep it alive.
Totally.
And let's pray for a spin-off, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, we do every night.
Yeah, I had some rumors about that. Maybe.
Someday, hopefully. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. This has been another
live, guys. And thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you.
Goodbye from the Screen Chronicles and Levente Lezsák.
Destiny's all.
Destiny's all.
Destiny's all.